Number 60, Randy the Rutabaga. It's Not Easy Being Green. Written by Beepa Amit. Illustrated by Beepa Amit. Randy the Rutabaga was sitting in his favorite easy chair thinking about all the fun he had just had in New Orleans. Marching in the second line, visiting Ron and his dogs. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Randy wondered who could it be as he got up to answer the door. To Randy's surprise, it was a leprechaun. "Howdy, friend, I be looking for a little girl I think you know, a wee little lass named Kennedy." Well, Randy the Rutabaga knew that Kennedy was one of the Rutababies, but how did this little green man know her, and what did he want with her? Now, what would a little green man want with someone named Kennedy, and why would you think that I even knew such a person? Randy asked. "Well, Randy the Rutabaga, or may I call you Randy? You see, Randy, my name is Lucky the Leprechaun. You and Kennedy met me several years ago when you helped catch a naughty leprechaun. That was me. Since then I've been a good guy, but for some reason everybody still wants to catch me. Everyone except for that sweet lass Kennedy. She and I have become friends." Ooh, how to catch a leprechaun. Ooh, a leprechaun trap. She's been at her Bea and Beepa's house for the last few years for St. Patrick's Day. Anyway, instead of trying to trap me, she set out a nice welcome home, thank you kind of thing. Help me fill up me pot of gold. Well, she's so nice that I look forward to seeing her every year on St. Patrick's Day. So I was bummed out when I first went to her house and then stopped in by the Bea and Beepa's, only to find that she was not there, not at either. So, Randy, that's why I'm looking for that sweet little lass Kennedy. So, can you tell me where is she? Well, Randy didn't know what to say. He just stood there for a moment and thought about what this little green man had just said. Then he remembered one of the first adventures he had with Beepa and the Rutababies. It had to do with a troublesome leprechaun and a special box of cereal. Adventure number 2, Randy and the Rutababies in trouble with leprechauns. Oh, that was way back in March of 2020. Oh, and a special box of Lucky Charms with 3 new Rutabagas. Oh my. Wait a minute, I do remember. Are you really that leprechaun that caused so much trouble in Ireland? Asked Randy. Well, Randy, that I am, but before you come to the wrong conclusion, I promised you that I would be good in Ireland, and I've been good. Instead of playing mean tricks on people, I've been nice and leaving treats for the good little girls and boys. Randy the Rutabaga thought about what Lucky had just told him. Randy also remembered what Kennedy had told him about the treats she had left out for just such a leprechaun, and how the leprechaun had left her prizes and treats. So Randy invited Lucky the leprechaun into his house and asked him to take a seat while Randy called Beepa for some advice. "Hello, Beepa. This is Randy. How you doing? You're not going to believe this, but I have Lucky the leprechaun here in my house. And he's asking me about Kennedy and whoa, 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 whoa." And just like that, Randy turned green. "Beepa, I just turned green." Beepa couldn't believe it. Randy couldn't believe it. Then Randy and Beepa heard Lucky say, "Don't be afraid, Randy. I just gave you a bit of the green so you could feel more like a leprechaun." Well, thanks, I guess, said Randy. But as for the information about Kennedy, what do you think, people? Well, Kennedy always looks forward to a visit from Lucky the Leprechaun, and I don't think that Lucky would do anything to hurt that friendship, said Beepa. I think you're right. Lucky, I'll tell you why Kennedy is not here for this year's visit. Kennedy is visiting her big sister in North Carolina and her brand new niece. Kennedy has become an aunt. An aunt? You mean she's turned into a little bug? Asked Lucky. No, an aunt, an auntie, said Randy. I don't understand, said Lucky. Kennedy's dad had a daughter before he married Jennifer, Kennedy's mom. When Kennedy was born, she now had a big sister, Maisie. That's Maisie and Kennedy's dad, Brian. Maisie and Kennedy love each other just like any sisters would and do. In November, Maisie had a baby and named her Delilah. Due to COVID, Brian, Jennifer, and Kennedy have not been able to visit until now, so Kennedy and her family are visiting Delilah this week. Oh, there's Delilah now. Isn't she cute? Lucky the Leprechaun thought for a few minutes and said, Randy, want to have a little leprechaun fun? Well, since I'm already green, why not? So first Lucky showed Randy what to watch out for. Leprechaun traps. That reminded Randy of another friend of his, Kermit the Frog. It's not easy being green. Then Randy and Lucky spent the day having one adventure after another. Soon Lucky said it was time for him to leave, but promised to come back next St. Patrick's Day. Randy waved goodbye to his new friend. Lucky also waved goodbye and said this, Happy St. Patrick's Day, wishing you a rainbow of happiness and good cheer. The end.